This is a video about changing improper fractions to mixed numbers. Some of you may have forgotten how to do this, so let's just do a quick review to remind you how to do it. Okay, first of all, if you have the fraction 11 over 2, as you see here on the screen, that means that your whole is broken into two separate pieces. So I've drawn a picture to show that your whole over here is broken into two pieces. That's what the bottom of your fraction is going to tell you. Okay, also, if that's what the bottom of your fraction tells you, the top of your fraction tells you how many pieces you are using. So we are dividing our wholes into two pieces, and we are going to have 11 of those pieces. We're going to use 11 of those pieces. Okay, so if I start trying to shade that to show what that looks like in a picture form, I'm going to have a block like the one drawn here with two different pieces on it because my whole is into two pieces, and then I'm going to shade how many of them? I'm going to shade 11 of them because that's my part. I'm using 11 parts. So I'm going to shade, whoops, I should have changed. I'm going to shade this side and this side, but that's only 2. And I have to shade 11. So that means I'm going to have to draw more pieces until I have 11 pieces. So let's see how many I have now. Now each one of these have to be divided into two different parts. So I've already done 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So how many wholes did I have to use? I had to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But that only got me to what? Do you remember? It got me to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But I need to have 11. So that means I'm going to have to draw one more and divide it into 2. But am I going to shade both of those? Nope. I'm just going to shade one because I only need 11. So now count. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that is my top number. 11 is how many I shaded, and the bottom number tells me how many pieces to cut each hole into. Alright? So how many, just looking at the picture, how many did I use? How many holes did I use? Well, I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes, the whole thing, right? Okay, so I used 5 holes, and then did I use all of another one? This one here, let's look at it. Did I use all of it? Nope, I just used 1 out of 2, so that would be 1/2. So 11 over 2 is an improper fraction, and if I want to convert that to a mixed number, it would be 5 1/2. And this picture that we just drew explains why that is. Okay? Now let me show you an easier way to do that, because you need to understand why you do it that way, but then I want to remind you, because I know you've done this before, but I want to remind you of the process that you do that, the quick way to do that. So let's take that same fraction, 11 over 2. Well, if I know that I'm cutting my holes into 2 pieces each, and then I'm going to use 11 of those pieces, I've already shown how we can do that. So another way that we can do it is I can say, how many 2's are in 11? How many times will 2 go into 11? And 2 will go into 11 how many times? Well, let's just say you don't even remember how many times. I'm sure that you do, but let's just say you don't. So we could divide, and when we divide, what do we put in the house? We put the top dog in the house, right? The top number gets to go in the house. So let's just divide and see what we've got. Well, 2 will go into 11 5 times because 2 times 5 is 10. And then if I subtract, I have 1 left over. Now, I could keep going as a decimal, but in this case, because I'm switching this to a mixed number means a number and a fraction with it. So I'm just going to use this as a fraction. So I like to say that you put it in the refrigerator. I'm going to bring this number, my remainder, the leftover part, the portion that's left, I'm going to move it up, and then this number, which was my original denominator, goes on the bottom. And that's all there is to it. And if you'll remember from what we just got through doing a minute ago, it's the same answer. So let's try one more. Let's say 7 over 3. Well, how many 3's are in 7? How many 3's are in 7? Well, that one you should be able to do here in your head. There are 2 3's in 7, right? Because 3 times 2 equals 6. So there are 2 3's in 7. So my answer is 2. And then how many did I have left over? If 3 times 2 is 6, how many did I originally have? I had 7, so I have 1 left over. And then my original denominator goes on the bottom of my fraction. Let's do a different one, and this time let's divide it again. Let's say, and I'm choosing kind of easy ones right now. Let's say 8 over 4. I'm going to divide. I'm going to say how many 4's are there in 8. My top number always goes in the box, always goes on the inside, and the answer would be 2 because 4 times 2 is 8. So 8 fourths is the same thing as saying 2, and you don't have any left over at all. Okay, let's try a little bit more difficult one. Let's say 23 over 6 or 5. 23 over 5. I'm going to divide. The top number goes in the box. 5 times 4 is 20. Then I'm going to subtract, and I have 3 left over. Now, if I was writing this as in decimal form, I could have added a decimal and had a 0 and brought my 0 down, and I could have kept going. But because this is a mixed number, I need it to be in fraction form. So once I've subtracted, and I've used all my numbers at the top, which was 23, once I've used both of those numbers and subtracted, then this is what I use for my fraction. And if you remember, I kind of talk about it like a refrigerator. This number goes in the top of the refrigerator, and this number goes in the bottom of the refrigerator. So the answer would be 4 3/5. Let's do one more. Let's say 37 over 6. 37 over 6. 37 sixths. So if you'll remember, that's the same thing as saying that I have one whole, and I'm dividing it into 6 pieces. And then of those 6 pieces, I'm going to use how many? I'm going to use 37 pieces. So I've used 6 here, right? So if I kept going, I would have to draw more shapes. Got to draw my line on that one. You see what I'm doing? The bottom number tells you how many pieces to cut it in, and the top number tells you how many pieces you've used. So let's see what this looks like. Are you keeping up with how many I've used? Let's see. I cut each hole into 6 pieces. That's what I did here, right? Okay, with the red boxes. And then I need to use 37 of those pieces. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. That was, if I used how many holes? I had to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 whole boxes. And that's 36 pieces. But I have how many pieces? 37 pieces. So I have to draw another shape. And in that one, how many am I going to use? I've already used 36. So now, 36 pieces. So now I've just got to use one more because I had to use 37 pieces. So that would be that one right there. So I used 6 holes, 6 whole shapes, and one of another one. And how many pieces was total in the other one? That means how many pieces did we cut them into to begin with? 6. So 37 over 6 is the same thing as, I'm just going to divide it, so you can see the same thing. It would go 6 times, and I would have 1 left over, and I would put it up in the refrigerator, right? 6 and 1, 6. And if you remember, that's what we just got on the last page. I think you got it. Good luck. Math is your friend.